Food you eat. Shrimp, a major industry in the state of Texas, but is facing a hurdle at your local restaurant. Now, the Texas Shrimp Association is looking for change and asking how to identify your local shrimp comes from Texas.
We also talked a little bit about, legislation across neighboring states. We're seeing, I guess, a use of identifying where shrimp are coming from.
Yes. So Louisiana has actually been pushing for this for several years. So this is a huge win for the state of Louisiana. And what they've done, they actually went up through their health and safety legislation options. They went up that route because there's been so much talk about the bacteria and the veterinary medicine and the antibiotics that are included in imported seafood. Less than 1% of the seafood's ever inspected, and the percentage of seafood that actually gets inspected, about 30 to 40% of that seafood is tainted with banned antibiotics, banned pesticides. It's just seafood that you do not want to put in your mouth. So we've been fighting not only for the fishermen, we've been fighting for the consumer, because the consumer needs to have the right to know what they're putting in their mouth. So, so they just signed into law a bill that requires restaurants to illustrate either on their menu or on an 18 by 18 inch sign where the shrimp and or crawfish is coming from. So if you walk into a restaurant in Louisiana, you're going to know, you're going to have access to that information, because that's important to you as a consumer, because most consumers don't go into a restaurant and ask for the farm-raised shrimp. They want wild-caught American Gulf shrimp, and we think that's going to help the industry quite a bit. Although it's only passed in Louisiana, we're really wanting to push for that in Texas, and we realize we have kind of an uphill battle to do that, but that's what we're starting on here with the Texas Shrimp Association. We're leading the way to try and get something like that pushed here in Texas.
Have there been conversations with legislature on this particular issue?
There has been, but we haven't had a big enough push to get anything in writing. I think now that we've seen how Louisiana has patterned that specific bill and how the channels they went through to get it done, I think we're going to mirror their exact path, so to speak, and I think we'll have a better shot at getting it done. We're relying now, as opposed to just protecting the fishermen and the shrimpers, we're throwing an extra component in there. We're protecting the consumers now. So once we've kind of bundled both sides of who we're protecting, it seemed like that was an easier fit for Louisiana to get passed, and we're hoping we can do that here in Texas.
I know in the past few years I've spoken to you. Some of the messages you shared with us is, Texas shrimp. Ask your basically wherever you're getting your shrimp, ask them where it came from.
Right.
Is that a start?
Yeah, that's a start. The problem is, number one, is educating the consumers to at least ask where the shrimp are coming from. And number two, it's really hard. And we're not saying that the restaurants are intentionally deceiving the consumers. We're just saying that a lot of the wait staff, they just don't know where the shrimp are from. They just also assume, just like the consumer, they assume the shrimp's from the Gulf of Mexico, as most people do. So the customer that's going in and asking where the shrimp are from, they're not getting told the truth a lot of the time. So we just want there to be open transparency for the consumer, and this will obviously help our industry out as well. Less than, I think it's about 92% of all shrimp consumed in the United States is imported from a foreign country. So we're only supplying, the wild-caught American industry, Gulf shrimp industry is only supplying a little less than 10%, and we just like that to go up just a little bit more, and we think we can make that percentage go up just by a couple of percentages more just by educating the consumer. But a little more has to be done. The consumer, there's responsibility that needs to be shared by the restaurant industry as well.
What's so special about Texas shrimp? How can you tell them apart?
Texas shrimp, they have a much sweeter, more distinct flavor, and our shrimp get the flavor from what they're eating out in the Gulf of Mexico. Whereas if you compare a wild-caught Gulf shrimp to an imported farm-raised shrimp, the farm-raised shrimp will have no flavor whatsoever. So a lot of restaurants will use that farm-raised shrimp when you put batter on it, or you dip it in a sauce. It's really hard to tell because you're just getting the flavor of the sauce or the batter. But if you truly compare the shrimp side by side with no extra flavoring on it, you'll be able to pull out which one is the wild-caught Gulf shrimp just because of the unique flavor that it has.
Why are people buying this other shrimp?
The imported shrimp is a lot cheaper right now. It floods our market. Like I say, less than 1% of the shrimp ever get tested for any antibiotics or drug residue, and it pulls up anywhere. Anywhere you go to shop for shrimp, you're going to see farm-raised imported shrimp, unfortunately. And a lot of people are bottom line, they want to know, how much the cost of it is. And we think that once we illustrate in restaurants, if we can get a bill similar to Louisiana, if we can get one of those bills passed, we think that a consumer will actually make a conscious decision not to eat at this specific restaurant if they're serving imported shrimp. They're going to go to a restaurant that's going to be serving wild-caught American shrimp. So we just like to say, just be aware of what you're eating, and don't be afraid to ask where the shrimp are from. When you're going in, you're paying good money. You want to make sure that you're buying the best quality. You want to make sure you're not buying something that's imported that may be harmful to your health, and just ask and make sure that you demand to know where the product is that you're wanting to consume and pay money for.
Thank you for joining us. If you missed part of today's episode or would like to see more of Inside RGV Politics, check out our website. That's kveo.com. I'm your host, Alfredo Cuadros. Have a wonderful day.